Good morning. We start with Lama Tsongkhapa Guru Yoga from the small booklet. From the heart of the Savior of 100 deities of Tushita, on a peak of cloud resembling a clam of extremely white fresh curd, King of Dhamma, omniscient Losandrapa, please come here together with your sons. In the sky before me, on a lion throne, lotus and moon, my perfect pure Guru smiles with delight. Supreme field of merit for my mind of faith, please abide for 100 yawns to spread the teachings. Your holy mind has the intelligence that understands the full extent of objects to be known. Your holy speech with its excellent explanations is an ear ornament for those of good fortune. Your holy body is radiantly beautiful with glory renowned. To you who are meaningful to see, hear, and remember, I prostrate. Pleasing drinking water, various flowers, fragrant incenses, lights, scented waters, and so forth. Oceans of cloud-like offerings, both actually arranged and mentally emanated, I offer to you the supreme field of merit. Whatever non-virtue of body, speech, and mind, especially those opposite to the three vows that I have collected from beginningless time, I confess each and every one with fervent regret from my heart. You strove for much learning and practice in this degenerate age, and made your freedoms and richnesses meaningful by abandoning the 8 worldly concerns. Savior, we sincerely rejoice in your extensive deeds. Perfect, pure, holy gurus from the billowing clouds of wisdom and compassion in the sky of Dharmakaya, please let fall a rain of profound and extensive Dharma upon the receptacle of those to be subdued exactly as they need. May whatever virtue I have collected benefit the teachings and all transmigratory beings, and in particular may it cause the essence of perfect pure Losandrapa's teachings to shine forever. Saji Burki Chushi Metok Tramarabling Nidegempadi Sangeshindu Mikte Uwa Idrokunanda Shila Chuparshu. By the merits of having offered this mandala to Lama Tsongkhapa and his 2 sons, may I, my family members, and all sentient beings be able to meet, practice, and actualize the teachings of the victorious one, Losandrapa, who had a morality of eminently pure way of life, was courageous in the extensive conduct of the sons of the victorious ones, and accomplished the yoga of 2 stages of supreme bliss and emptiness. Idam Guru Ratna Mandalakam Niryatayami. By the force of having fervently requested in this way, hollow beams of white light are emitted from the hearts of the perfect pure Father and Sons, and combining into one enter my crown. White nectar, the color of milk, flows from the opening of tube of white light, cleansing all my sicknesses, spirit harms, negative karmas, obscurations, and their imprints without exception. My body becomes as pure and clear as crystal. Now we recite 5-line Miktsema on page 8, 3 times. Migmet sewe ten chen chen rezi, drime gempe wampo jampe liang, dupo malu jonze sawe dak, ganchen gepe tsungen tsongkapa, lo san drape shabla sowa deb. Migmet sewe ten chen chen rezi, drime gempe wampo jampe liang, Dupo malu jonze sawedak, kanchen gepe tsungen tsongkapa, lo sandrape shabla soade. Migme tsewe ten chen chen rezik, drime gempe wampo jampe liang, dupo malu jonze sawedak, kanchen gepe tsungen tsongkapa, Lo sandrape shabla soade. And a prayer for the swift return of Lama Zopa Rinpoche by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Fearless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas, victorious Losang father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now. Holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, you wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable Venerable Guru, to you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for mother living beings you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss! Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels, and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in a glory for fortunate disciples.
Sangye Chudang Tsogi Chonlum La Chanchu Pardu Dang Kyabsun Che Dagi Chushi Yeband Dagi Drolam Benje Sangye Drubar Sho Sangye Chudang Tsogi Chonlum La Chanchu Pardu Dang Kyabsun Dagi Chushi Yeband Dagi Drolam Benje Sangye Drubar Sho Sangye Chudang Sojin Cholum La Chanchu Pardu Dang Kyabsun Dagi Chushi Yeband Dagi Rolam Ben Sangye Drubar Sho Kangi Tukzen Nizone Tawa Tamche Pambi Cher Tambi Chun Denze Kwadam Tela Chantse Lo Namo laye ke na lu dana jige chubong dada mi ke nam tan chwa kunji danam chi zomba tam jike do da ge chu den do. Good morning everyone. Welcome. You take your mom here. Sorry, I forgot your name. Yes, excellent. I met Badrum. Maybe 3 weeks ago, yeah. And wonderful. You're looking after your mom. Excellent, excellent son. And finish my English. Kung saganjina tugra kazing 아니 니마치가 콘델레기 있어 드릴랜더 그런 게 아마 지금 델레샤 그런 남주 아마 따도신 되길라서 배 아니 원에 타네 배 약본도 쓰라 그런게 아니 아마 긴거티 잠겨 약부 제니 아마티 간지 메센 탈 마신 바도 그런 아마 따도 제바나 다 텔을 타가지 추지요 말이스 추 약슈데 라 안겨치마 계란 지금 물루터버세다 저절로야 대점 걸고 말이스 라 데리
So Geshe met with this person at the restaurant here earlier, and at that time, he said that he will come and visit one day. So that day has arrived, and he has brought his mother along with him. Sorry, just 1 minute. Okay, so he's brought his mother along with him, and you can see that there is great love and affection between them. So, and as the mother becomes older and older until the very end, you can see that there is a demonstration of this love and affection. So this care is something that is really no better Dharma practice than caring for one's mother. So in this case, there's no reason to doubt that this person will be achieving a human rebirth in the future lives. That's a lot.
nga chunjun kongla sawi amala gawda yorda inaya tetsamgi be ani amat sa chimbo da ama ke chimbo yembate ai the mixe gi shuji hako mes chambushaba nga amala gawo yes imbaina tangi du sia tanga lo chugni ni gozo ni nge namba sanji wi che jamba yes ro tandanga longap chungap shil lesson ro 아니 더 디네 넘버 산지 위치는 디네 태워진 위치 장도 스 장운데 아마 최신도 계시고 그러 더 수수 써놈 써야겠다 지금 신 아니 투 연하면어디 파마디 찍 차기도 아니 수수기 짜위라마다 아니 더 군조섬디 그러 짜위라마스나 더 군조섬디 더 디니디다 아니 손놈 사야기 신 연하면은 디차기도스 두스 디토라 양니 성당원디다 오늘 전에다 아마를 장정 치고야 돼 신도는 기침 붙이기도스라 딘성이 니마다 아마냐면도 당가 아마를 투야기 말이야 고급도 요 말에 자기인도 요 말도 있는 게 니마다 아마냐면도 깨지시기스 이 아마로 자주 작성을 아니 두스 다치 아마 겐고 도solaya 참교 약부 쟁행이 메도스 통으로 오늘 전에가 샘 딩니베 아니 메텔이야 가와키기도스 샘 딩니 다 쿠셔비용도스라
So when Geshe was very young, from a very young age, he very much loved and appreciated his own mother, but he hadn't yet realized or understood how very important the mother is, how very precious the mother is. So Geshe himself, he entered into the monastic institution from 12 years of age, and now he's about 44 years old. And during this time, he studied in particular the Mahayana practices. Yeah. And during this study, they explicitly mention the importance of the mother and the preciousness of one's mother, in particular the kindness that one mother shows others, indeed their children. Yeah. So this makes the mother a very supreme field of generating our own accumulation of merit. Yeah. So on top of our parents, we also have our root guru, the three jewels. But in the Mahayana Buddhism, the parents, in particular the mother, is clearly emphasized as being a supreme field of merit, a supreme field where we can accumulate merit. Yeah. So if we recall these important points on a regular basis, then we will come to understand the importance and the preciousness of our own mother. So Geshe himself is not able to meet with his mother directly due to circumstances and so forth, but he talks to his mother on a daily basis. His mother, Geshe's mother, is 83 years old, but he regularly talks to his mother. So when Geshe sees other people that are so well connected with their own mother, then Geshe feels a great sense of joy and a great sense of respect from the very depths of his heart.
Tida 1987 ro anga phenia jagalle bayis jagalle Sera monastery roni aninga number sangi chela ya 20 years ro lo nishus ngi jambayis janinga gishi chares gishi chaninga ani ngi kecheshu di ngar gegin la ya shabshyat gegin la shabshun debayis lo khashi jigrin la ya ngi gegin de lo gonglong gupchu khoksum la ya 93 years old and gupchu khoksum la ya gongba zosong tibar dingi gegin la shabshun tini semba de pe kibu chaksong ta gegin gomba zosa vijela ngara samna la ya tangi ama gengo tla yore tanga ama sal drochin ngi ama la rogba chenra ama la khala soya ame chik dolo tsama soya tsu seni an dinyam de tini chik shoge ko ngara khamden ron gomkel tindi de chon danga pekiu yosare samza ngala ti shu yes imbayna yanga ani phelan rothugu mandos am phelan droyagi chagen ro sangamandos ro tedin that the Keranzo the Chukso ama Yonghenso, ama Gengo Yonghensogi. One Kawasambures, so the ama Yori, amas lavsat Yora, the Tipe Kitchen Burendasra, and Zambali Namalaya, Guchala Kandaji Yabanaya, Penjur Katsu Yabanaya, Amachigma do Mevas, Ra, Sendilaya, Amachigma do Mevas, Amachig the Laxares, the Nis only Amase Laviagi. Ama se tsigjora ama se tsigdi tanganzo phege tolaya ama se tsigdi gondi pe masba nyembulus tsig theli nyembajita yomaris tarwa tsig nyembu shoch ama se tsigdi gondi pe masba nyembu yores te thi lapsa gi miti chimado yomaris te kya yupenjo kazus yobana ama de mewi nyumola ani nyue yomari ka ke yomar maybe you want memory model chikan yomaris that semnala ama tendeji model ama sin sig lapsachi mundo asra ta yevirinla ama yevirinla ya te ama sin lapchinra ama ke tanche ama la robachi ama la changyongchin de ta tele yagachi mesedinal sawa nini yosamaris ro.
So in the year 1987, Geshe came from Tibet and went to India. At that time, arriving in India, he entered the Sirajai Monastery. And during that time, 20 years in that he studied and reflected on Buddhism. and then obtained the Geshe degree. And during this time, he understood what was very essential, the important points, and especially he was able to serve his teacher for several years during that time. And when his teacher was 93 years old, his teacher passed away. But at the same time, when Geshe was serving his teacher, he felt very joyous, very happy in order to make the offering of the service. Yeah. So he feels likewise if Geshe was able to serve and attend his mother in the same way by helping make food, keeping clothing clean, and maybe in the evening would recite his prayers and practices, then he would think that this would be very, very enjoyable and something that would make him very happy. But due to certain conditions not being met, he's unable to travel to Tibet. Yeah. So he's unable to do this directly with his mother, but he can see that those that do have the opportunity to be directly with his mother, then it's really very important to recall that this is a very important and very good opportunity to be a benefit to your mother. Because regardless of the amount or the type of resources or possessions that one has, then we only have just one mother. Yeah. And in Tibetan, the word is ama. So if somebody says the word ama, when the word in Tibetan really brings to mind a very sense of preciousness, yeah, a very special meaning is stirred within our minds when one says the word ama in Tibetan, yeah. So this is something, our mother is something that is we only have one of, and regardless of the number of possessions or resources that we may have, then really we only have one irreplaceable mother. So, and once our mother has passed away, then all we have left is that recollection of our mother. So while our mother is with us, present with us, then the opportunity to assist and help her is very, very important. And there's something nothing better. That's it.
다 지단 미제나로야 페나 사상 생인데 개침부로 와서라 소수 교가당 소수 아니 와이 그래서 참 개침부로다 소수 보다 소수 보면 개침부로 와다 레디는야 아니 페나 교가직 메나 니바직 소쳐가다서라 개미직 직 맞는 니바직 렌쳐가다 그래서 창사 잡죠다 니 가주 지어잖아 잡죠다 아마 지어자면 왔어 아마 지어자면 안 빠워 지어자면 다 파마싱인데 되는 부직 리면 부니바 소쳐거라 소쳐거라서라 보무자라 지기 리면 니 소쳐거라 그러니까 그때 소쳐거라서 다 파마 소해무다다 파마싱인데 소해무다다 여버티 파마니 요리 텔리 망지다잖아 가주스 때네 교변조 여바이나야 안센디 파마디 다 니바치 소야문도 왔어라 딘디기 다 얌첨부죠 다 얌첨부디 짜첨부디 안간주 짜첨부 통고 그래스 짜첨부디 짜첨부 만통나 아니 뭐요네술디 아니 통투고요 말했더라 뭐요 내좀 토마도나 덴바 생기는 통구요 말했어. 덴바 토마도나 자와 가르치나야 덴바 제토구요 말했어. 자와 장부 제토구요 말했어. 다 자와 장부 제마도 자와 덴바 제마도나 아니 최 생기디 용구요 말했어. 최 생기디 소다 아니 장부 덴바 지기 돈은 로고다서 딘자 다 파마 영행 속에 파마를 따도 치고야지. 파말레로 따도 치고야지 신도는 개침버려서 되네 파망 안주다 아니 안사마 아니 처음 딱 봤어야 되고 아니 기질이야 치고야 되고 지금 충이 차고면서 니마지가 카트로 디콘 아주 탑시스 키요 말레스 파마 맹해서 이바이나야 아니 지 종신비기 파마기 체도 로 베네 드링 공발을 리고레 공발레온디 고손투 덴토스 제바다 아니 니 파마디 아니 지 깨와 야구치 렘바쇼 세 말람게야 소바 로 안지 파마디 지 아니 samlo khoyang bu tangsa ani so kibu debu yosa adindri chilaya kewa shos monam ji kya bayna so da phama paralaya thumo mai be leg dewaji yobanza gyasa gyatam ba phendo yung yores adindri drogo da dara.
So, for example, our family is something that is consisting of perhaps a husband or wife, or perhaps children, and we consider all of these as very important, yeah. But in reality, we can take another husband, or having divorced and take another husband, or we can remarry, or we can take another wife and remarry in this way. So, but our mother, our parents, our father and mother are really irreplaceable. We only have one of each, yeah. So in a marriage, we can in future remarry, or we can, if we wish to have more children, we can have another child if we wish to. But the point is that our parents are not like this, yeah. So regardless of whatever possessions or resources that we have, then it's not going to be something that is able to replace our parents, yeah. There is no second parent or mother or father coming along. So we must come to the understanding and regard our mother and father as being something very, very precious, yeah. And if we see this in our life, then this is something that is very useful for us. But if we don't see this, then actually we're not seeing the real nature of the reality, the truth of the reality. And whatever actions that we do and undertake in our lives, then it's not going to be in accord with the reality. Yeah. So when we speak in terms of Dharma practice or the Buddha's teachings, yeah, then this is something that is expressed in accord with reality. It is an honest or a truthful way. Yeah. So if we see the situation, the preciousness and the kindness of our parents, then we strive to look after and take care of them. But we know that the nature of reality is impermanent, and eventually we will be separated from them when death is the conditions of death arise. Yeah, this is natural. Yeah, but for the purpose of being of benefit to our parents in the future, then if we do visit certain places such as here, then we can make aspirational prayers for our parents when we meet with the representations of the body, speech, and mind of the Buddhas. May our parents, may my mother meet with good conditions in their future lives. May they have a happy rebirth. May they have good conditions. Because as a child of that parent, then we have actually have an uncommon karmic connection. So we're able to base out those aspirational prayers using this special karmic connection with our mother and father. 맞습니다.
근데 넘버 3기 추조 니 셰바이나 추디 개체슈디 탑신이 세지 순구요레스 라 탑디 장주구 샘 그 짜와디 제원인지 첨부 세드레스 라 제원인지 첨부 시치비 장주구 샘디 탑다 데니 셰럽 비기다 간지 쪼다 셰럽드레스 추 남지다 네루 니 무유 니수 니룩저라 니룩 도비 셔럽니 뭐디 아니 송저지는 냠슬 램바디 다추 지술다 아니 타르투바로디 디차고요레스 라 남산지비다 추 제단 타르투바로디 아니 탑의 셔럽니 아니 냠슬 램야디 탑신이 고미야디 디차고요레스
So from a Buddhist perspective, the most important aspects of the Buddha Dharma consist of the two, the method and wisdom. So from the method side, this consists mainly of bodhicitta, the mind that wishes to achieve enlightenment. And the main point of bodhicitta is great compassion. So then secondly, we have the wisdom aspect, and this is specifically referring to the wisdom that realizes the true nature of reality. So when these two, the method and wisdom are conjoined, then we can understand that this is the ultimate Buddha Dharma, or the ultimate teachings of the Buddha that we need to practice and meditate on.
Tinza benada sherab kazus yobainaya tab kicha ani bi dajik chambada ninji nyamne de mena ani sherab dige ani sherab ki nyamne chibi gobar odun drugu yo mares gobar druya thardubad khares na kyen thamje paayat ro nyumwada shiji driba sayagi kyen yonsu zoba sayadi sherab gombi ki thamje deres the Ken Yons of a sail, Sheriff Gombi Toji, Ken Yons of a Sebala, Tap any 7 inch chamber that Chanju Semlaya Madena Segio Mares, the raw. In the Sheriff Cambogoni, Pengio Mare, Tap Kinyamenti, neighbor to go yours.
So, however much wisdom we may have, whatever much skill or discrimination that we have, then if it is not conjoined with this method that understands the great compassion and so forth, then it will not be, it will not achieve the results that we are wishing for, that we are striving for. So if we have wisdom that is able to remove all of the faults and all of the obscurations to omniscience, then if it is not conjoined with the method, the great compassion and bodhicitta, then these two are not going to be able to achieve the results that they are aiming for. Yeah. So it needs to be practiced in union or conjoined together, both method and wisdom.
Terda Penateo Ninji Chamberdan, Chanju Samuel over Tabgi Chok, any Gomni, Sherab Magombaina, young Numumbadan, Shiji Bigi, Muji Nimbudi, Chatu Yomares, there are the Jijin Kanzo, Chabu Yosigri, in the young Kanji, Dorduna Dindigres, Kanji, any Tabshi Nidi Nyamdu, any Nyamdu, Gombalateni, any Kyun Kun. The Yondin Kun Tobiadi or the digital Songures.
So the great compassion that is the root of the bodhicitta, or the mind of enlightenment. This is a method, yeah. And if we meditate on this method, but we need to also utilize that discrimination of our wisdom, yeah. Because if we do not use wisdom, then it does not become an antidote for removing those afflictive emotions, those obscurations. So you may feel that this is a little bit sort of complicated, But in order to remove all faults, then we need to utilize the wisdom, and we also need to attain all good qualities. So this is why we use the method and wisdom together.
다 닌자다 다 저와 닌지 전부 세야디 자와 차가 그래서 자와 차가 완전 저와 닌지 전부 세야디 아니 다 랑안족이 다 저당 섬전 탐지를 미비기 저와 초그리와 많이 바로 nganzu zewa joro tanda nganzu zewa joro da susu namle zewa zamado ani chi mado chi 탐제를 야 비기 대원 대보다 동한 문제바 지 gyurin 대바 참을로라 야 미비기 zewa지 기 두고면도 왔어 기 두고면도 왔어 가슴 다 수수 가사다 수수라야 수수를 추지 아니 팬 통행지라 봐 zewa기야 마도 아니 수수라 수진 저메사다 소술의 팬무도 작던도 소술의 수진 네바기에 댕해지라 파제와기야디 신도는 깔카고도 상황들어 다 디제와도 가르스는 제와 초그리와 생들이스 딘디 마임바 제와 비 대원 되바다 둥할 문제바 찌규 인댕이 소착 참을로야 아니 제비 삼바 찌규지여바는 텔라 제원인지 전부 세기요레스
So when we speak of the method, we have great compassion, yeah, as the very root or the force behind it. So in general, when we think about our own compassion, our own loving kindness, then we can see that it's somewhat biased. So when we speak of the great compassion, this is the type of compassion that is indeed unbiased. But when we look at our own compassion, then it is somewhat is dependent on whether someone likes us or not, or if we find it very difficult to feel love and compassion towards somebody who may have harmed us. So it is very difficult for us to generate this unbiased sense of compassion because we have our own biases, yeah? So if we strive for the great compassion, then we need to think in terms of all sentient beings are equal in our giving of that love and compassion, giving our love and compassion equally to all sentient beings. And this is what great compassion consists of.
딘자타 통마 닌지 곰사기 제비 삼바 깨사기 만줄이야 토마토 소리스라니 소수 파마다 어디 차거레스 라 웅그 깨우 담바다 닌지 냠는 첸네 탈친 딩이 깨우 담바 속에 닌지 토마 곰사디 제비 삼바 토마 곰사디 소리스는 소수 마트레스 라 소수 마트레스 당 안주 야 첨부차 아니 두 치온디 파마 긴고 차온디 다 파메 소소소라야 지 펜토야기 파마라야 니버도 메비 갑들 아니 간주 파마라 지비 제와도 도르야지도 디 신든 답교고 차고레스더라 자원이니다 모롱와지 차고레스 다 첸디 마텔라야 아니 파마 긴고텔레 미비 제와치 여바나 디 시치니 아니 섬전 탐jel에 대답이기 아니 제와기야기 탑시지 용거레스 시자지 차고레스 딘자 말아지비 세와디 신도는 최저 돈의 세나 신도는 개정을 차고 그래서
So in the beginning, we experience be a recipient of compassion from a very early age, from our mothers, from our parents, yeah? And we look at the very holy beings that regard their own mothers as something being so precious, yeah? So we can take our own parents, our own mothers, as the example of sharing compassion. They wish to relieve others from suffering, yeah. But as we grow up, then they also grow older and older. And if we were to neglect them or put them aside, then this is something that is really not very honest. It's really quite inappropriate, yeah. So, but we understand compassion based on their example, and we use that example to share compassion with all other sentient beings. Now, this is something that is very important to consider, the kindness of one's mother, but also using that as an example of compassion for others. That's all.
마도 랩 베나 마이 불러지비 제와테다 제와디 헤메바지레스 마이 불러지비 제와지오라 디 오늘 전에 아니 다 약부 쇼즈레도 아서라 마이 불러지비 제와텔라 아니 지 레와도지 칸요 마레스타라 부디짠의 수직 라야기 베나 간수 베나다 지 Chalachilaya Chabi Chabachi Chalatilla Gavi Logiavana Sosula Revajora, Dinansing Pena, Zasan Penzul Sevi Zewadi, and the Chapa and Regido, etc. Zasan Penzul Sevi Zewadi, Chapa and Regido. Sorry. Chapa Dova and Zevad Loudovers. Chapa Mena Zevad Laya Yanga Pendo. Takashi Kashitan Onegita. 제와 용초를 모두 망치야지 착비 로드면은 제와디 라운드도스 마디 불러 제와디 착보 마레스 랍초다 드난신기 지 부약부지기 수수기 파마 갱골아야 제와디 착바된 제금도스라 수술에 까딘진자 소소의 참경증이 소송원의 물성이 딘디 까딘진자 균센 대송이 제비 삼바기 온디고 균센 뎀비기 제와 차고도 하서로 딘자 착보 마레스 랍초고도 착샘들 균센 매바지기 토니 착샘 기고라 레와제도 소소의 즉 토비아지기 체도 마도 비 균센 양다버지 삼니 착샘 기기요 말아왔어 어두 성당디 말지비 제와티 말지비 제와지메나 아니 숨자 탐jel의 지비 제와세디 신도니 깔카버레스
So, for example, if we take the love that a mother has for their child, then this is a type of love that is not mixed with attachment. So, a type of love that does not have the mother's own wishes or hopes mixed within it, yeah. It's not expecting to receive anything back, yeah. So, for example, if we take general objects that we all possessions, we think this object would be very useful for us because it will provide a particular benefit, yeah. We love this object on the basis of our attachment or desire, yeah. But once that attachment or desire has been removed, then that love for that object or possession is lost, yeah. But the mother's love for a child is not like that at all. You could say that the love of the mother for the child is not attachment at all, but it is love, yeah, genuine, not mixed love, yeah. So this type of feeling is something that is very reasonable, yeah. So there's no expectations associated with that in terms of wanting receiving something in return, yeah. So we take this example of the love that a mother has for their child, but if we're not able to experience this, or if we're not able to think about this, then it will be very difficult for us to generate that type of love for all other sentient beings. That's
어디래 진짜 당연히 농축 담으로 쇼시기라서 당연히야 랑간조 간조 뉴무요 반자 뉴무 생이디요 반자 마리비 왕기 아니 더샤키기요레 콘트로키기요레 셰단키기요레 안타 간지 마리바요 반자 간조 줄야 마리바요 반자 간조 무요 내설다 지 아니 두존 통 마투야기 더 유제 망부슈 상은 디왕기 간조 농축 쇼시기요레스 딩간조 농축 쇼시기요레디 텔코 가서다 휴지기 텔라 독자다고 해서 기어 말했어. 이뭐이는야 아니 단다 파르도 로사규디 로사레 디코디 단다 파르도 소수 농축 쇼지 되게들야 휴지기 빼 아니 로범체니 소수 빼나 소수 마기 버진 대바나 펜토고 말했어. 텔 펜토스 기어 말했어. 다 마웅발야 마웅발야지 아니 한마 독자 제세규라 때네 마웅바 야부 제고 삼비 로직에 두바나 안주 메시드나 펜도 용거래스
So, but it is very possible that we will make mistakes or people make mistakes. And this is due to our ignorance, our confusion. We become angry, we get upset, we speak in harsh words, and so on. But this is due to our confusion or ignorance, yeah. But and we don't actually, because due to our ignorance, then we're actually not able to see the actual nature of the situation. Yeah. So, and because of this, of course, there's the possibility of us making mistakes. Yeah. But we don't need to consider those mistakes as being necessarily bad or negative. Yeah. We can think that, well, things happened in the past, mistakes happened in the past, but on the basis of things that have happened in the past, one may feel discouraged, they may feel hurt and disappointed. But we need to focus on the future also. We need to focus on the future and not be disappointed about things that have happened in the past. Yeah. So if we think about helping and assisting about the future, then this will be something that will be very beneficial for our lives. Let's see.
일단 농축가리 쇼바이나야 농축 쇼샤교디 짱마소에 매바지 지에요 말레스 짱마소에요레스 농축 쇼샤교 짱마로 짱마소에요레스 베나간조 둘로지 쪽바 차바이나 쪽바 간르지 차바이나야 코 짱마소에 요르와스 데 요르다고 야 이 짱마소에기 다 샬라 가리는 진 차연 두마도 용거마도 간지 짱마소에 매바지 쪽바지 차요 말와스 베나 추지 쪽바 쇼 차바이나 코 짱마소에 요라스라 딘자 안주위 네바 간르지 싸바이나야 아니 디 짱마소에 요레스 짱마소에 요반자 안주 쇼지 아니 로팜니 shum니 대고야 니수스 케요 말레스 짱마소야기 탑시티 땡샤바이나 야슈디레스 따라
So mistakes do happen. These will happen from time to time. But there are methods that we can utilize in order to cleanse these mistakes or faults. So just like, for example, we take a cloth or a piece of material and it's very dirty, but there are methods in order for us to clean that dirt from the cloth, able to cleanse it. We can do various things, such as soaking it in the water or using soaps and so forth. But we can see that there are methods in order to remove that dirt or that fault from the cloth. Yeah. So, in the same way, whatever faults or mistakes that we may possess, there are methods that we can rely on in order to cleanse those faults or mistakes. Yeah. So, because there are methods, then there is really no need to remain discouraged or remain disappointed, because we're able to rely on those methods to cleanse those faults. 맞습니다.
일단 예바디 지단기 예바 사운디 예바 사사기 율 담았으나 니 땡겨레스 지디 아니 군조숨 다 산게 아니 잔숨라 땜비게 예바 사단 지기 용거레스 지 파마기 쯧비 심전라 땜비게 예바 사단 지겨 더 딘니리 로스직 예바 직사에 요 말레스 당한줄라
Ini yang dia disuruh nanti mangcuk kosong ini conscious
예바직디 산지 잔숨라 때는 간주 예바직 사고레스 베나 산지라야 아니 견조야라 소바 산지라 마테바키야라 소바 잔주 셈발라야 마테바키야라 소바다 지겨라 안 딘딜라 땜비 아니 예바직 용거요레스 지디 다 파마고 쯔비 다지 심진죠라 심진 비 심진라 때네 심진라 너시치야 심진 야와토야 딘디라 소비게 아니 예바사단 지기 간지 예반 제사기 시디 딘니스 탕에 바레스
So, in general, when we speak in terms of accumulating faults or accumulating mistakes, yeah, then we can speak in two separate categories. Yeah, we can differentiate on the basis of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. For example, if we speak of faults in the Buddhas, or we harm or we do activities that harm bodhisattvas, then this is one type of accumulating faults. Now, the second type of type where we accumulate faults is in terms of ordinary beings, but in particular when we speak in terms of our parents, yeah, when we may make mistakes or accumulate faults in terms of our parents, such as speaking harshly or behaving in negative ways. So all of the different types of faults can be encapsulated in these two different fields or categories. That's enough.
딘자 비 산지 최나라 갈송을스라디 디바탐지 소소 샥스 샥바치에도 소소 샥스라 버스 소소 샥스에디 갈스나 가을 때니 디바 사샤바 요반 텔 때니 디바 샤고레세 지요레스
So, when we speak from a Buddhist perspective, there is a specific verses that we can recite. So it says, "May I confess all the negativities, or all the faults that one may has." So where are these faults coming from? That's what.
테니 디바 제바 보텔라로 텔 아니 네바 싹바 볼라야 아니 류 용구요르 류 토니 네바 사야지 아니 나그 토니 네바 사야지 이그 토니 네바 사야지 요레스 지요레스 디숨리 네바 싹바 볼라야 디숨리 하요 마레스 달 토니 네바 사샤바디 토니 샤담 체고요 봐 나기 토니 네바사와디 나기 토니 샤담 체고요 봐 샘니 네바사자와디 샘니 샤담 체고요 봐 직송 거레스로 디리 직차고레스
So these faults or negativities, then they actually require an agent, an actor to perform these negativities, So, and that agent consists of the body, speech, and mind. So, in order to accumulate those faults, then they must be engaged in through one's body, speech, and mind, So now this agent is able to, via their body, physically, they are able to confess and purify those negativities. And verbally, they're able to confess and purify those negativities. And then mentally, they're able to confess and purify those negativities accumulated. That's it.
Pena Lug Tony Sashavi Nebadi Ngak Chikbu Tony Tayadi Kabuchagores. Lug Tony Savi Nebajora di Lug Laya Matemba Ngak Chikbu and Neba Tayagi Tabshidi Kalakabuchagosares. Pena Nanzu Mijilaya Ani Chikshubaina Ra Chikshubaina. The middle shun this is never just sasaro, never sasaro. Tam midis and droni never the shagora, the never the gondas labgora. Gonda lavia di lug namgir tone, gonda get numbers matembaina, canning gonda lavia chibujigi, pajama sam the tagmara. Can many dombadi nabuj station ra, Migjoro station. Gondas lavaina, Pasham Sam Dromarada. And you Lu Kushivi Toneda, Lavadus in the Gondas lavaina. Me Pasham Sam Tangro. Then he can never tower the Pasham Sam the Keomaris, Slav Tugra, Pashomia. Can Donganam give Dugja's attention, Gondas lavaina, Pashomegi, Samna, Gonda the Dromaris. And never the shot to your maris, the kanji. Never the lag there is. But these sort of reshas, there are Hagosa.
So, so, for example, if we take the one is accumulating a fault or a negativity on a physical basis, if we, for example, if we hit somebody, then if we just do a physical, then we need to confess and apologize for that, So if we confess and apologize, if we just do it in a physical way, then that apology is not going to seem genuine, But we also need to make that apology verbally, So we need to express ourselves and share with the other person that we are apologetic, But we also, if we think about, well, we may say, we may physically indicate that we are sorry by, or we may say that we are sorry verbally. But if our mind is not indicating, if we have an unhappy expression or still an angry expression on our face, then it clearly shows that we mentally are not genuinely apologetic. So we must combine these three to convey a genuine apology to the other person, So, and because if somebody can see that maybe our expression is not apologetic, then they're not going to be accepting our apologies, and therefore our confession or our apology, and that is not going to be accepted, and therefore that fault is going to be remaining there. That's it.
Inzada, Benada, Kavu Sanji Gendula Soba, Chanju Sambala Sobala, Tindilea, Tembi, Digwasa Shavata, Manzola Tendi Yungurata, Tuzo Taya Chedo, Aniji Ngani, Ani Camdron de la Soba, Sanji Senjobala Soba. 아니 샘라야 아니 지 산지 장성 구순 투순 그 연된 검니 대법검 아니 류니 차체바이나 비 조지자와세는 제발이야 아니 류니 차체 나니 겸로던 생각을 버저 샘로 대법검는 투순 들어바이나 아니 산지 주견도 전주 샘발에 땜비기 디바드 다르고 요레스 산지기 송 요레스라 다기리 송 요레스 다기 요레스라 닝언주 켈린 제투고 그랬으라
So if we take the objects of refuge that we seek protection in, of the three jewels, the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and the Bodhisattvas and so forth, then in terms of these objects, then we have actually accumulated a lot of negativities here. But in order to confess and purify those negativities accumulated in terms of those objects, then we can do practices such as going for refuge, reciting the name mantra of the Buddhas, and so forth. We can meditate on the mind of faith that we have in the good qualities of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and we can also make confessions and prostrations to the 35 Buddha practices. So these practices we can do physically, but also verbally and mentally. And these are all methods that we can apply in order to cleanse or purify those negativities, especially if they're accumulated in terms of those objects of refuge. Now, the Buddha himself spoke of these methods. So on that basis, we can accept those advices.
일단 간주다 만치아지 아니 남아산기 위치 징이 반자 라 아니 지 겸주 돈바다 개닝 돈바서 란치 아니 되게 대치고야 반자 아니 대시시하고 숨주성하다 아니 변은 동샤세져라 그래서 아니 도조 되니 아니 차체 아니 산지 찬성 고송투고 연된데서 공바이나 디바 다야기 탑시 약슈 티차고 어레스 라 디진 나한테와나 빼 마스바 야부차고도 아스라
So since most of you here quite likely consider yourselves as being Buddhist, having taken up the refuge vows, bodhisattva vows, and so forth, then if one practices the the confession and purification on the basis of the 35 Buddhas and so forth, then this is something that is really a very, very effective technique. And we can also reflect and meditate on the good qualities of the body, speech, and mind of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas and so forth. So these methods are really very good and effective for purifying any negativities that we may have accumulated in terms of these objects. That's it.
딜리 제도와는 세딜라야 팽기여서레스 라 산지 장성기 고순투기 연된 가주 삼투바이나 아니 디 셈바디 가주스 소수줄로 여바 디쪽이 셈바기 부차그레스 라 만주줄이야다 지 더차 샤당 컨트롤 나게 마리월 소바 가주 슈치바 디쪽이 만주 셈바디 기부 메바 차고레스 라 아니 대바단 인지단 잔주고 셈다 즉 산지 찬성고 고손투고 연된 쌈 이야기 로직이 여바이나 아니 디쪽이 셈바디 기부차가 어레스라 기부차나 세디고 그거조디 먼저 기부 용야 들어와서라 아니 차체바나 류종아 디기 차가 와서라 아니 믹스기 요가 제목고야 류종 다랑기 차체 토네 류종 차가 와서레스 아니 류 대부 차바나 기부 용거라더라 먼저 기부 소야 찍디 먼저 류 대부 용약이 저도 깔리 쇼기가 오라라 아니 벤조 드베 망체데다 루분디 셰드로즈로다 로 진짜 아니 차세바나 베네니마타바 아니 산지 숨주 송가 첸단 냠비 아니 차 숨주 송아리 세바나 야자자다마 계란 루종을 차그레스 진짜 저도 야구 빼래샤스라 탑시 야구 쇼래샤스 다 디린라야 소주 샘라야 치 아니 데차 슈크쳔보 용고 마레 나게 슈크쳔보 용고 마레 콘도 슈크쳔보 용고 마레 디린라 간지 소주 샘바 기부 차그레스 대한 캡산로스라
So these methods are something that could be very beneficial for this life also. So if we reflect on the good qualities of the body, speech, mind of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, for example, then while we are reflecting on those good qualities, then our mind is going to be very happy, yeah? But when in general, if our mind is under the sway of afflictions and anger, attachments, and jealousy and so forth, then our mind is not going to be experiencing much happiness at all, yeah? So if we think about and recall the good qualities of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, for example, then we're going to be very happy. And that's the point of our lives, isn't it? Is to experience happiness, yeah? And also, if we do a physical practice such as making prostrations, then we don't need to practice yoga, but we can make physical prostrations in order to increase our overall physical fitness. We don't need to do yoga activities or exercise, but we can practice prostrations. And on that basis, we can recite the names of the 35 Buddhas and so forth. Yeah. So in general, many people spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of resources on building up one's physical fitness. But if we use the prostrations, then 100%, then we'll be becoming a lot fitter and our overall physical wellness will be much better. So these are the methods to remove and reduce those attachments, maybe reducing our pride, reducing anger, and so forth. And then however much we do that, however much less we have those disturbing emotions, then we'll be experiencing a lot more mental happiness. Now, this is a good gain or profit. That's all.
먼저 미카시기 차세바나 수부톨라드르 something mam부도스바 케바톨라드르샤그레 비무톨라드르샤그레 some 아시나 체딩이 mam부도스디 약부지 세바나로다 답긴 쇼바나 톨라드르마도 약부지 차 약부지 세바나 디기 수부톨라드르 마레스 수부톨라드르 마레스 자, 니 아마기 니마 딱바 차 니게 세겨레스.
니캬.
가자 컨통하라. jan kanz thor ni ame par thora ni ame par ama lo jachu par di pe masiva shen ama subu pe yagu yores ama lo bu chu ki yore tanda lo jachu kyaksam re ina nimata wa cha ni ja sega pe thangbu yores ra cha tse ondigi ani kanin demban deyanchi ko rangsing legi yores jing deyanchi pena kyamro rawchi sanji chodon soju chono la chanchi padu dani kyapsu chusayagi pe tsichi deni cha tseba na ani sanji islawandi sanji gita yonde ani chus lawandi chugu yonde gendun islawandi gendun tenri jisamni cha tseba na ti rinla ya kerangu lunga yiksumdi tsama tsangyanji tola ya detu gores ti tsugu keran sembadi pe masiwa debu kibu yungure subu debu yungures ro dikpe kechimbu insares ro
some people may feel afraid or reluctant to actually practice the prostrations. They may feel that it might hurt their back or it might hurt their knees if they repetitively do the prostrations on a regular basis. Yeah. Well, if one loses balance and falls over, then yes, there is a danger that one may injure themselves. But if we do the prostration correctly, then it is actually very beneficial and can assist in improving one's overall physical fitness as well. Now, Geshe takes, for example, his mother. His mother makes 200 prostrations on a daily basis. Yeah. And somebody there saw a photograph of Geshe's mother and they exclaimed that Geshe's mother looks so fit, so young. So even though she was 80 years old in that photograph, but Geshe's mother looks very healthy. Yeah. So now Geshe's mother is 83
younger than me. Looks.
so it's so that Geshe's mother is now 83, and even though she's had 10 children, but she still is making these daily prostrations. And due to this practice of her daily prostrations, she also recites the names or recites the refuge verses. So it sort of spontaneously comes from Geshe's mother's mouth. She recites the refuge verses, and if she brings to mind the good qualities of when she recites, I go for refuge in the Buddha, she brings to mind the good qualities of the Buddha, and she brings to mind the good qualities of the Dharma and the good qualities of the Sangha, then this is really something that is benefiting her body, speech, and mind. Yeah? So if we're able to practice physically and both mentally, then this becomes a very useful method.
당 심진라 댐비 라 디바디 심진라 댐니 샤고 그래스 다 심진라 댐니 디바샤 조 심진라 미비 아니 닌지기 삼바치 게토바나 디바 쇼 다기어서레스 라 디바 다야기 다 타비 약슈디 닌지 고메디 인사레스 라 테니 다 짐바타야라 소바 아니 지 냠타 옴폰라야 로바치야 페나 다 셴기치 아니 세소 껴비야라 소바 다 딘디 제바이나 아니 먼저 다 디바 타고레스 다 야슈디 닌지 고미야 대원 되버다 동안 문제바 란다 찌그림바 균센디 토미토니 아니 대탐제 동아다는 치마로 냠비기 somebody same thing 니케디 닌지 곰슬드레스 티키 투바나 로 아니 디바 오네 디바 타고사레스 로
So the negativities that are accumulated on the basis of other sentient beings, yeah, we also must confess and purify those negativities. Now, the most likely the best method for purifying these types of negativities is meditating and generating the mind of great compassion. Yeah. So using this mind of great compassion, we can purify those negativities. Yeah. So also, if we undertake practices such as making generosity, or we can give and share to those that are less fortunate than oneself, or practices such as protecting and saving lives. These are also methods that will purify those negativities that one has accumulated in terms of other sentient beings. But really, the best method to purify this type of negativity is to generate the mind of great compassion that is generated on the basis of understanding that all sentient beings, like oneself, wishes to experience happiness and to avoid suffering. And we generate the mind that wishes to free those living beings from that suffering. This is what compassion consists of. So this generating the great compassion is really the best way in order to purify the negativities in terms of other beings.
Thank you. Thank you, Jema. Sainimadi Ngandavala Mesra. And it did jail a carriage, and then you betari Nishanga Sature.
That's Yikire.
Dindila and Ansutanda Chanju Sembigita, don't be love shakorch, sheatre.
Hakmasan.
Hamas.
Hakmasanga.
Karam Kitamasan.
And Yingre. Yiningati, Jecha Hakogibe. Konda. Jecha then Dendelina.
Reda Gemma, Donda Chignijila, and then Ganza Sanima, the Nins and the Soto Samares, and the Constitution again, Tony Constitution Sungri. Yeah.
So I just would just like to share with you that next Sunday, Geshe himself will be unable to be present. But then the following weekend, perhaps the 25th or 26th, whatever that Sunday is, then Geshe will be discussing about the Bodhisattva vows and the bodhicitta, yeah? So, but in the meantime, perhaps Venerable Tony will be able to give a discussion next week.
Final Lamrim prayer from the small booklet, page 12. From my two types of merits vast space that I have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a grand length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds' wisdom eye is blinded by ignorance. Even if I do not reach this state, may I be held in your loving compassion for all lives, Manjushri. May I find the best of complete graded paths of the teachings, and may I please all the Buddhas by my practice. Using skillful means drawn by the strong force of compassion, may I clear the darkness from the minds of all beings with the points of the path as I have discerned them. May I uphold the Buddha's teachings for a very long time. With my heart going out with great compassion, in whatever direction the most precious teachings have not yet spread or once spread have declined, may I reveal this treasure of happiness and aid. May the minds of those who wish for liberation be grounded boundless peace, and the Buddha's deeds be nourished for a long time, by even this graded path to enlightenment completed, due to the wondrous virtuous conduct of the Buddhas and their sons. May all human and non-human beings who eliminate adversity and creative conducive conditions for practicing the excellent paths never be parted in any of their lives from the purest path praised by the Buddhas. Whenever someone makes effort to act in accordance with the tenfold Mahayana virtues practices, may he always be assisted by the mighty ones, and may oceans of prosperity spread everywhere. Thank you.